I woke up December 18th, very thankful. I woke up December 18th, realizing that God was blessing me with more than I thought I was worthy of. They say imposter syndrome is a thing, and I don't know how much I felt, you know, that I would ever feel like I had imposter syndrome, but there was moments where I felt like maybe I wasn't worthy, or why am I in this situation? Why am I put in this position? And I had to keep reminding myself, you are in this position because God put you there, because God willed you to be there, because this was God's plan. And when I woke up, I kept reflecting on the meeting with the school, like I talked about in my last podcast, and how thankful I was that it went so smooth, and how it felt to be there and watch my kids looking at me and smiling as I spoke to the families, and the embracing that I had from the other coaches, from the varsity team. It was very cool to see my ex-wife there, um, getting the information for the school, because we were potentially going to have to deal with that because we're hoping to transfer my son, right? So it was very important that she was there. And it was just great to look out, and I knew I was a bit nervous, which is so weird because I spent half of my life on stage, right? And with huge crowds, big crowds, some small crowds, some mid-sized crowds, and then very big crowds. And this crowd was not very big, but I was nervous. Why? Because it's parents, and I'm a parent, and I know how protective I am of my kids. Um, so I was nervous, and I knew I was nervous because when I looked out, I saw my ex-wife look at me, and she kind of had a look like get it together. And I was right, because after I was done and the night was over, we talked about that, and she goes, "You did look a little nervous, but you got through it." Um, but I woke up on the 18th very thankful, very blessed, and I took my butt to the gym, and I just wanted to work out. Felt good, but I had one of those days where you go to the gym and then you kind of slow down. Not meaning like my day was slow, but I was in a mode for that day where I was like content. I still did my workout. I went and had breakfast, and then I got in my car, and then I just sat in my car. Sometimes I read, sometimes I listen to a podcast. This time I just kind of sat in my car after eating, and it had rained a little bit, and I was just sitting there kind of thinking. And then something told me, check your email. And I checked my email, and what do you know? I get an email from the current school district that my son is in right now, telling me, "Mr. Molina, we have approved your son's transfer, and we have sent it to the other district to sign off on." The amount of joy that I felt getting that email, I don't even know if words can explain it, man. I feel like it's the greatest thing I've ever done for my kids. I've done a lot for my kids, but I feel like this is my greatest accomplishment that I've done for my kids, because I know what it means for their future. I know that it is setting them up to be great, to be in a better school district, to get a better education, to be part of a better athletic program, to be around a community of people that are always thinking up, thinking of being great, working towards being great, and the conversations that are going to change around my kids that, God willing, will inspire them to think out of the box. And I say this, please don't take this the wrong way, but I did that. But I didn't do it without God. I called my ex-wife and tried to get a hold of her. I was in tears. I was beside myself. I was crying, man. It's just tears of joy. Just so happy. And I was trying to get a hold of her. She was busy with work, so we couldn't get a hold of each other. So I didn't want to leave her a voicemail. This was a big deal. I got a hold of my mom, and my mom answered. She thought something was wrong with me because I was crying. She's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I said, "I did it. We did it." And she said, "Do what?" And I go, "We got Jordan's transfer." And she's like, "No way." And I said, "Yeah, we got Jordan's transfer." And she knew exactly what I meant by that, because she knew everything that I had riding on this. She knew that there was always a bigger plan to provide for my family, for my kids. And so she started crying, and I said, I cannot believe that this happened. I said, I shouldn't say that because I believe, I have faith, but the fact that it really happened and we didn't get any pushback is amazing. It was like God cleared the path and said, "This is yours. I am blessing you with this. This is my plan. There is nobody that can change this plan." And my mom was crying. She's like, "I'm so proud of you." And she's like, everything you've done for the kids, and this is big. I know how big of an accomplishment this is for you. And she's like, "But everything stems around baseball, son." She's like, you've used baseball, and she goes, "Do you remember how young, how old you were when you first got started, and look what it's doing for your family now." And I said, "Mom," I said, "Do you realize that I never forgot how I got started with baseball? All I used to play was baseball in the street. No bullshit. I would just play baseball in the street with my friends because we couldn't afford to put me in Little League. I never played T-ball. I never played minors. I never played farm. I never played any of that." When I got my chance to play, I was 9 going on 10. And the only reason why I got into baseball is because my mom knew how bad I wanted to play baseball. And she said, "My friend is coaching her son's baseball team. They're in the majors at this Little League. She says, you can play on her team. You got to go try out. But she will tell the league that you're supposed to go to her team, and she will let me do a payment plan. She will pay for you to play, and she will let me make payments." I told my mom, "Do you know I never forgot that? I never forgot what you did in order to get me there." And that was my first year of baseball. I ended up getting my first baseball injury. I got a concussion. A ball hit me, but I came back. I actually had an amazing year. That was my first year, but I had been playing in the streets all the time. Baseball was my thing. I won MVP on that team that year. It was crazy. got an MVP trophy, and um, it was wild. But I told my mom I never forgot that. You are the reason why this journey started, and I owe that to you, and I need you to know that. I told her that this is the biggest thing that I've ever done. I feel so vindicated for feeling like the failure that I was when I was going through my divorce, man. Feeling like a low, worth nothing, in the lowest of lows. I just felt worthless. And I felt like it wasn't good enough. I felt like I wasn't good enough of a father. I wasn't good enough of a husband. I just felt like I just completely failed. And, you know, I made it my goal to change that narrative. I told myself, I am going to change that narrative. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to change it. I was never a bad father, but when you go through a divorce and your partner says that she is leaving, you can't help but feel like you are a failure, that you did something or you didn't do something to make it work. And that's how I felt. So I told myself I'm going to be the best father that any man could be. And without having a bunch of money, I gave him my time. I gave my kids my time. Because time is the most important thing we have in our lives. It's not the money, it's not the material things, it is time. And when you give somebody your time, you are telling them that you are important to me. You mean something to me. Our relationship is of the utmost importance. So I gave my kids my time. And I made sure if I promised something, if I said I was going to do something, I did it. But I always wanted my kids to know and look at me like, my dad is strong. My dad is a leader. My dad's a go-getter. So that's where I transitioned from that big basketball looking fat ass that you saw 7 years ago to going to the gym, taking care of myself. I don't think I'm ever going to be carved out of marble, but that's never been my goal. My goal was to just get myself in shape, get strong, and learn how to take care of myself and take care of my family and defend my family and be in public and know that I can handle myself and anything that goes around my kids and protect them. That was a goal of mine. It was a goal of mine to train them, to get them strong, to teach them things, to when they got involved with baseball, for me to show them everything that I knew about baseball, which led me into coaching, training, and then that blossomed into what it is now, me being hired and paid to train kids all over the place. I always wished that I had the money to take my kids and put them in a better place to get a better education, and I didn't have it. I don't have it. But like I always say, There's one thing I know how to do, and that's I know how to coach my ass off. I know how to coach some fucking baseball. And knowing how to do that opened this door. Using what God has blessed me with opened this door. Having faith in God, putting all my trust in God, saying, I know that if this is my calling, if this is the right thing for me and my family, you will bless me with this opportunity. You will make this happen. It won't be me, it'll be you. And when I tell you guys I did that, please don't mistake it for me saying I did it by myself, because I don't do anything by myself. It's always with God. I called my brother Rob, man, my brother Rob from church. I've mentioned him a few times on this podcast, and he simply hears me out, man, and he's got tears of joy. He's happy for me, and he almost immediately says, hey, brother, I sent you a picture. Sends me a picture. It's me 7 years ago. I said, man, I was 9 months into a divorce. He goes, you remember how angry you were? Remember how mad, sad, just everything, a mess all over the place, just not happy. Do you remember that? Look where God took you from and brought you to right now, and listen to you. Look what he's done in your life. Look what he's done for you to help you provide for your children. When you say God is amazing, you are 100% correct, brother. God is amazing. And for you to call me and share this information with me, I'm so thankful. I love you, brother. And I told him, I said, man, I love you. You held me down in the beginning. You barely even met me, but we hit it off, and you have become such a good friend to me. Anytime I needed to talk or bounce something off or I was going through it, you always made time for me, and I need you to know how much that means to me and how important you are to me. I appreciate your friendship so much because you believe in me. You believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. And that is a true friend. If you've got a friend in your life that believes in you, when you are at a point in your life where you don't even believe in yourself, that is a friend. That is someone that you need to hold on to. Because they're always going to pick you up and say, I don't give a damn what you're going through, bad boy. I'm going to pick you up and we're going to get through this. I believe in you. And if you need my help, I got you. Those are good people to have around you. You need those people. After I got off the phone with him, my ex-wife texted me. She's like, what's going on? And I said, we did it. And she said, what? I said, we fucking did it. They approved it. She goes, oh my God, I can't talk right now because I'm with my boss. You know, she's a district manager. And she's like, I'm trying to hold the tears back. She says, man, I'm proud of you. It meant a lot, man. I've come a long fucking way. I've come a long way. That meant a lot. Oh, man. Life comes full circle, guys. It comes full circle. You just have to keep moving forward. I said, what do you want me to do? I got to go pick him up right now. He gets out of school early. Do you want me to wait? She says, don't tell him. Wait till I'm with you. I said, cool. So I had to bite my tongue as I went and picked up my son from his school. I didn't say nothing. Acted like nothing. And before we met up at the house, she did end up calling me. And I never heard her so happy about something that I've done before. Um, you don't have to be married anymore to appreciate when the woman that you're raising kids with tells you that she's proud of you. I think one of the biggest things in co-parenting is you have to uplift each other. And that is a very hard thing for people to do when they are no longer together, especially when you're in a relationship or your ex-partner is in a relationship. It is very hard to get past all that and be very uplifting and encouraging to each other. I think it's extremely important. And although we are not perfect, we make it a point to uplift each other, to tell each other, hey, I'm proud of you. Great job. Man, you really helped out. And to be honest with you, I had this thing in my head where I was like, I want to follow up with the district, but I don't want to call because I feel like they'll be more receptive if his mom calls. I don't know why, but I feel like if I call, they're gonna be like, "Oh man, there's a dad on the phone who's asking about a transfer." I said, but I feel like if you call, it's a softer approach, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, let me check on it." So days prior to that, I asked her, "Can you please call?" And she did, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I see the transfer here." They said, "We see the transfer request here. We'll go ahead and look at it, and then we'll get back to you. But we definitely have it here. Just wanted to let you know." She's like, "All right, cool." So she goes, "I think my phone call helped too." And I said, "I think it did." I said, "I really do think it did because I think there's just something to be said about having his mom call and check on it instead of me. You know what I mean? For what it's worth, I just felt that way. Maybe you listening or watching disagree, but I don't know. People say that I come off as a very intimidating when I'm not crying. Oddly enough, I'm crying on this damn podcast. But people say I come off as being intimidating. Um, and I didn't want that to be the case if I called the district. So she says, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a heads up when I'm heading to the house, and then you can just meet me there." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So we, I work for a bit, and then she texts me. She's like, "Hey, my ETA is this time." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll meet you there." So I got there like 10 minutes after she got home, and we were chatting on how we should do this. And so we printed out the transfer letter. She put it in the envelope and put his name on it. Um, and then I brought, the new high school hat from the current high school that we're at right now, or where I'm coaching. I brought that hat, and I said, "So what we'll do is we'll bring him outside where the Christmas lights are, present him the envelope, say Merry Christmas. When he opens it, we'll put the hat on him and say, we did it." And so we did. I get them. I tell my son Jaden, "Hey, videotape it. I want you to follow him. Don't let him see you videotaping now." I go, "But when you hear me say, 'Hey, Jaden, call Jordy, tell him I need his help outside in my truck,' that's when you tell him and then follow him and videotape him." So he did. She comes out. She's standing by the Christmas lights. I'm outside standing by the Christmas lights. He comes out, and I go, "Hey," and he's like looking at us. I go, and she gives the envelope, and she says, or she gives me the envelope, and I go, "Hey, Merry Christmas," and I hand him an envelope. He goes, "What's this?" I go, "Take a look, Merry Christmas," and he goes, starts opening. He's like, "Am I going to Westmont?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Am I getting transferred?" And so he opens it, and he's like, "Let's go." I go, "We did it." we did it. And big old hug. I start crying and I start breaking down, man. You know, I'm a big old softy when it comes to being a dad. I hugging my son and I'm just telling him I love you so much, man. I said I'll bust in my ass and I'll do it again and again and again for you guys. And I grab my youngest son. I tell him get in here and tell his mom get in here and we do a group hug. And he's so hyped, man. And I felt so proud. Can I be honest, man? I felt important. I felt like, yo, man, God help me, but I did this. This is something. This one for me finally. This one for dad. This is one for dad. Dad did this shit, man. Dad's skills with coaching and building up what he does with baseball, getting this job at this new high school, and it opened this door and now brings me here and next year my brother here. Dad did that. It was the first time I felt like that. It was the first time since being a father that I stood off by myself and I said, man, I did it. And I put my head down and got in my car, man. I said, thank you so much. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Thank you for this feeling in my heart, in my chest. Thank you for blessing my son. Thank you for providing. And I pray that you help me stay focused on everything and stay focused on the most important things. We did it. And I couldn't be more proud, man. I'm excited beyond words, and the work doesn't stop here. You know, it's school. It's not like things get easier. My son knows that he's going to have to go there. He's going to have to bust his ass. It's not just about baseball. It's about academics. It's about chasing his dream in all aspects. Putting his best foot forward. Taking the opportunity that he's been given and running with it. God opened the door for me. I opened the door for my oldest son. My oldest son is opening the door for my youngest son. And God willing, we will power through and get these boys through high school, on to college, and on to a better life than I ever had. That's all I got. That's all I got, guys. I am happy. I know you hear it, and if you're watching, I'm sure you see it. Any tears that I've shed on this episode right here were not tears of sadness. They were tears of joy. You're looking at a proud father. You're listening to a proud father right now. A very grateful father. That is all I got. Like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess. But for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace.